Good afternoon, America. With the messenger of Thought Knowledge. Welcome to this afternoon's very important information again. Um, I don't know how I'm going to say this because I've gotten over 500,000 plus comments on everything that we're seeing these past couple weeks with Trump getting back into presidency, China wanting to go to war with us, nuclear war, Biden just doing whatever the hell he feels he wants to do for Biden and Biden himself. And I want to break down to the country again the truth. And I don't think any of the elders in the conscious community have spoken this harshly as I'm going to speak as we get further into the program, or wanting to say what truly needs to be said. So I guess I will finally take the first step forward. You're being psychologically manipulated, and that's detrimental to every life in America today. You have over 50% of the country being thrown out of their home. And if you choose to care enough to start researching smaller journalists' scripts and news, then your notifications, for example, I want to go with maybe you have Metro like I do, and you get the notifications, not YouTube, not Facebook, but their news, access to news. Some of them manage to give you shit. And I really want to give Metro their props when props is due. You have the military police for a reason, and this is what it was. Number one, the housing restrictions that are being lifted. Let me explain. They were no different than the eviction process, right? All they did was through no fault of landlords and realty. I want to make that very clear. They're the ones that are receiving this. And unfortunately can't do anything because, again, banks run everything. Once you are, like, let's say $100 behind on that rent, they're bringing the police with them for a reason. You're being evicted. You're being evicted, right? Of course. Duh. I can't believe I just repeated myself. But let's get further. That's why they put these housing restrictions through that process. They could have put these restrictions up via federal government, but they never did. And all of you that keep saying this was a federal order, we don't understand. It was never federally ordered. Then how was it going into play here? The media played the game. Only a few landlords caught on. But you're just being evicted. So here's my piece of advice, because I've been evicted, I've been homeless. If you have nowhere to go and that landlord and everybody's trying to kick you the fuck out, you need to board up the doors. Make sure I hate to say this on national social media to make it sound like a dire thing, and it is a dire situation. It is going to get violent, so please have protection. Make sure you're on the phone at the same time, making arrangements with everyone you can call to get yourself to either a family shelter or a family friend or loved one. Please. And if they try to kick the door in, buck. This is what your country's come to. Let's move on. Trump is coming back, and this is why. You have no democracy, it's business as usual, and you are being run by a mafia. They don't have a code of honor. That's the scary part. You're dealing with a violent entity. And this violent entity is all about psychological manipulation for the sole purpose of war and violence, so they can remain dominant on their power trip. It's like heroin. And democracy isn't real because, again, democracy is the common ground and coming to common ground with differences in agreement for the greater good of whatever society that democracy is supposed to represent. That's not what's happening. Trump is putting money where it needs to be put because a lot of you keep calling Trump an idiot. That guy's a fucking sociopathic genius. He's a business wizard. What he's doing right now is making agreements, propositions, trying to make some agreements, and again, make a deal with anyone that he can so he can weasel his ass back into some kind of presidency. And what she will do is come back to the Oval Office because Trump knows how to make arrangements, make negotiations, but most of all, he can influence anybody because the Trump dynasty has more land than you know of. They also own more banking, investment, stocks, and firms. This man is a business wizard. And it's not necessarily Trump doing all the business either. Let me make that very clear. His son is also a business wizard. The reason why you guys keep calling him an idiot because the media wanted to manipulate you. Because again, these are people that are all about power. And once you remove the money component, you have property, you have war. If that makes any sense at all, because I'm sick and fucking tired of repeating to you simpletons how your country's really being run. And some of you, there's nothing we can do. There's a lot you can do. It's called brace for impact. I hate to say this to the country this afternoon, but you're going to war with your own country. But that's why they militarize the police. Not because of crime, not because of protecting and serving, but once they kick everyone out, who are also paying rent too, they're going to come on in. For what is the purpose? What is the purpose? Ladies and gentlemen, in the commentary, asking me those kinds of questions, I really appreciate that I might have the answer. So I'm going to amalgamate something in which is a respectful, an appropriate response. Again, power is a demonic entity, and none of you want to hear it, especially you atheists. I think it's time you got on board with the fourth horseman of the apocalypse. Fire, famine, widespread floods, widespread violence. But after that widespread violence on the fourth horseman is the end of humanity. We're coming that close because China wants to blow us up. You want to know why China wants to blow us up? Because for the fourth, a millionth and final time, has America made them a scapegoat? After everything they made for us? See, you're looking at it as business, okay? That's appropriate, number one. But once you pull back the business aspect to why China hates America, it's because of sheer ignorance and arrogance. We did not spread this disease or virus. You paid us $1 trillion so we can participate in research for infectious diseases and viruses because China is also a highly academically inclined country. So what your country decided to do was pull back and play the I don't know. So China got mad. This is why we're here. The reason why I'm speaking in this manner, as loud as I possibly can, without disturbing my neighbors or scaring anybody in my neighborhood, is solely for the fact that you guys need to wake the fuck up across this country. These people aren't interested in giving you your health insurance or helping you with child tax credit checks. The reason why they only give you work and health insurance is to keep the workers working until the day that they die. Now they don't need to procreate, and now they don't need workers because we have AI. This is the fourth and final component to this afternoon's program. You need to accept the fact that Elon Musk has no control over that superhuman AI. Mr. Brother Musk, I'm sorry, but you don't. I appreciate the warnings that you have given each and every one of us on the detrimental components and the detrimental things to society that are going to come with superhuman AI in the wrong hands. It's already in the wrong hands. It's been in the wrong hands for over 100 years. You need to also accept the fact that these guys are 20 years ahead of us in technology, as conspiracious as that sounds. Because each and every day that passes, Biden and every other president in American history has spent nothing and made an objective and a mission to spend trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in military weaponry so they can globalize the entire world. Power, let me explain this carefully. Power comes great responsibility. And I know I'm quoting a Marvel and DC comics and stuff like that, but there's no truer statement when we're coming to the terms of power. There's no reason why NATO, we're all NATO agreement, the NATO agreement, every other country has less. There's no reason. There's a reason for that, right? Enough with that's just how it is and this is just the way it is, America. That's colonizer talk. They want it that way. Because unfortunately, for years and years and years, and this is no fault of anyone, so don't get upset, don't start taking political sides. This is a completely human video. Because humans are flawed, because the great creator, we're the image of the great creator. We're the created in their likeness. We're supposed to be flawed, and we are supposed to listen to messengers and organizers and speakers and leaders of a prominent movement. And this prominent movement is extremely important. You have a country that wants to globalize because we've given them that opportunity. We have given them enough power. We have given them enough money. Again, enough with the money, guys. Let's just realize that the money is a tool and a component for us to keep us from reaching their level. Money is not real, and money has no value. Money has no value. It's about property, assets, collateral, gas, electric, if you have materials. If you have materials and or people and or a corporation and or industry that this power structure wants to get with and get busy on, you have nothing. They're going to take over other countries. And that's that. I'm doing this afternoon. I'm sick and tired of hearing stupid shit about democracy. You don't have it. It's not real. None of the shit that you're telling me, especially the Constitution, is garbage. What isn't garbage, and I will leave it here, is the fact that we are human beings starting to wake up a little bit. I've seen your commentary. I will give credit where credit is due. A lot of you see what's going on, and that's fucking fantastic, but we're not doing anything about it. You've been dehumanized and conditioned. You've been demoralized and locked in an algorithm, too. We have to keep this in mind, guys. Discipline. We need to learn how to use these as a tool. A lot of you need to learn how to use this. It's an extremely powerful force. Electronics and social media and internet is an extremely powerful force because, come on now, it's fucking amazing. I get it for you. But it's dehumanized, demoralized, and taken away a lot of things and have given nothing in return. When this stuff came out, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a little bit longer. When this stuff came out, Elon Musk and a lot of other prominent software creators and programmers and designers wanted to make sure that there were little programs and institutions after you purchased this device when smartphones first came out, in which we could go and we could learn how to use it responsibly. Also, more security on fake media that's we talk about now because of Trump, but also fake media, things that could cause detrimental damage to the society itself in America. But they turned it all down for a reason. Again, now we're going to keep even further, I guess, because I want to include this. This is a very important component. It's not just the way it is, and everything happens for a reason. And when you start to accept stuff like that, and you start to see past the smoke and the mirrors and the pretty details and the fancy graphics, especially with the progressive media platforms, all it is a psychological manipulation. And it's psychological warfare in some cases and aspects. Because number three, President Trump is coming back. Enough with democracy. And I'm not saying that because I like Trump. I fucking hate Trump. I think he's the worst person in the world. He's a vile individual. Because with a lot of intelligent people, and I can't believe I'm going to give Trump this credit. I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but we can't. It's third eye knowledge. We can't sugarcoat things. That's what happens when you have somebody that is masterful in manipulation and is really good with numbers and really good with negotiations. They are vile people. And what that component to this presidency that Trump has is those abilities. Ladies and gentlemen, Biden is a shitty president because he wasn't meant to be president. If you are truly meant to be a mouthpiece like Trump, for example, you not only do you have to have business negotiation, expertise in business, societal, humanitarian negotiations, as well as military, defense, electronics, technology, etc., an understanding of laws and regulations, which are just a bunch of psychobabble at the end of the day. That's a true leadership. Somebody that's going to come in there, and in terms actually to get even deeper, and you're not going to like this, in order to get the country that a lot of us truly want, there has to be a dictator going in to dictate all of these powers that be, right? And the outcome of that needs to be, again, everyone that is coming to common ground on differences for the greater good of any small or large society to ensure, and they're thusly engaging in democracy. I hope you've enjoyed this broadcast. This is as deep as I can get because it's kind of hard for me not to understand how many of you did not see that this past 2 weeks. And maybe it is deeper than just psychological manipulation. I know there's brainwashing involved because when you consistently use algorithms without any breaks and or discipline or any common understanding of how binary code works, it can fuck with your head and it's very dangerous. It also conditions you in which you are now defining yourself by social media. Therefore and thusly taking away social skills, taking away emotions, taking away understanding of basic humanitarian connections and vibrations. Please be careful out there. Please go get this. This is very important for the country to know, as well as keep an eye out there in Minneapolis for everyone that has been kicked out of their homes. That could be one major step in trying to form an actual nation under peace and equality. It just takes you taking that fear and that terror of this kind of a dominance. Just look at them as cranky old people in a 5-star nursing home. That's all you need to do. And therefore you will see the truth. Power is in the eyes of the beholder. No, not the eyes of flesh. The third eye. Peace.